count on me, Sergeant. I distracted Moo. It was now or never.
How did you get past Sergeant Moo? Well, you won't fool me so easily, madame. I shall question you later.
Nico, am I glad to see you. I tried to phone you but couldn't get an answer.
I managed to grab a couple of photos, but the guy got away.
Poor Henri is dead.
I know. Why kill him?
I've been trying to find out. Turns out the alarm was tampered with. It looks to me like an inside job.
So, no ordinary robbery?
And no ordinary painting. The priest claims that La Maledizio is evil. I need to get into the office and see what the CCTV has to offer.
So, what's the problem?
The inspector's watching me like a hawk. I'll never get in without some sort of distraction.
I'll see what I can do. Inspector Nave, do you have a moment?
My time is of the essence. Be quick now.
Don't you find it odd that the thief chose that one particular painting?
Life is full of odd things, madame. Fingerless gloves, white dog poo-poo, nasal hair. I prefer to concern myself with murder.
I suppose this is quite a complex case, Inspector.
It is a robbery gone bad. Nothing more, nothing less.
Surely there's a bit more to it than that.
Please abstain from baseless conjecture, madame. The victim's body paints a simple picture, more reliable than any witness statement. Consider the impact of the bullet, and note the concomitant lack of blood. A casual homicide, nothing more.
Did you see the alarm was sabotaged?
I have interrogated the crime scene, madame. I am fully aware of the disabled security. I prefer biological evidence to the merely circumstantial. Body parts, blood, important things.
Don't you think the disabled alarm is highly suspicious, though?
The forensic team will be along shortly. Voice your concerns to them. Do not bother me with this circumstantial fliff-flaff.
Why don't you check out the security camera footage?
Madame, that is not my area of expertise. It is the body which concerns me.
But the CCTV footage is evidence. It could help identify the killer.
Correction, madame. It is but an indicator. The only true evidence is bodily fluid. Unless you know something I don't, then please leave me be.
The only evidence Inspector Nave seemed to appreciate involved gore. What do you think about the American, Georges?
He is deeply suspicious.
Could you give me a statement, Inspector?
Now is not the time, madame.
Thanks, Inspector. I'll let you know if I remember anything else. If I was going to distract Nave, I needed to unearth new evidence or concoct some. And the bloodier, the better. The tomato sauce had splattered on the floor. It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. I spread some of this sauce around with my shoe. It looked a little bit like a blood stain, but it still wasn't right. If I was going to distract the cop, I had to get rid of that gum. No way was I going to clean that up with my bare hands. I scraped up the chewing gum with my press card, hoping the inspector wouldn't notice. I'd made a convincing bloodstain, but was it art? Inspector!
Yes?
Have you seen the stain on the floor over there? It looks like blood.
Indeed. How very curious. I must investigate immediately, before one of these idiots steps in it. Interesting. Maybe it is time to employ the machine.
Okay, Georges, that should distract him for a while.
Nice work, Nico. I'll let you know what I find in the office. I was sure the inspector hadn't seen me slip away, but I needed to be quick, because it wouldn't take him long. I didn't like the idea. I didn't need a business card. The pen could have been useful. Then again, it might have leaked all over my pocket. The lighter was corroded and grimy. It'd probably never work again. I decided to leave it. Carrying an ink pot around inside my pocket would have been stupid. The ink would have stained my hands for days. I didn't feel the need to take Henri's eraser. The switch controlled the small desk lamp. I didn't want to carry the tape around. I had a feeling I wasn't going to need it. It was the paper that Nico wrote for. Nico lived for the day her story would be on the front cover. There was nothing else in the drawer. The folder looked interesting. This was very definitely tampering with evidence. It was a completion of work notice from a company called Vera Security. They weren't the guys we'd recommended. Henri had gone behind our backs to choose a different security outfit. I'd never heard of Vera Security, but there was an address and phone number on the form. I had no reason to search the desk again. In the trash can, I found a crumpled letter from Henri's credit card company demanding immediate payment. It listed extravagant purchases from a variety of ladies' fashion stores. The address indicated that Henri lived in the chic and expensive 16th arrondissement of Paris. I decided to put the letter back. Henri's financial problems weren't my business, but now I knew where he lived. It was a hookah pipe. Those things gave... A pair of evil eyes stared from a partially covered poster. The poster advertised a 1975 Stockholm Music Festival, headlined by a group called the Hairy Lobsters. The calendar looked like a child's school project. Henri had ringed 27th May and scrawled birthday. Poor guy hadn't quite made it to his big day. Henri's notice board was covered with all kinds of junk. The statue was jaunty. Up close and personal, I could see that the fig leaf was hinged. Thankfully, there was no one around to see me do this. Very interesting. I wasn't going to open the safe without the key. I was fairly sure that even Henri wouldn't be silly enough to keep it hidden in the office. I wasn't going to open the safe without the key. The secret compartment was... The sofa had clearly taken some punishment over the years. A naked lady stared at me seductively. Henri sure liked this clutter. The street was quiet. Henri had a model of a VW camper van painted in hippie colors. The engine capacity was displayed on the back, 1600 cc. Henri sure had his quirks. It was a pretty flamboyant. The CCTV system was ancient. It took individual shots and recorded them to tape. It looked like I needed to enter... Henri had ringed 27th May and scrawled birthday. Bingo. I rewound the tape to before the robbery. This was the first interesting frame. It was Henri studying La Malédiction. He couldn't have had any idea what was about to happen. Nico and I were taking a look at La Malediccio just before the robbery. Funny, the painting didn't strike me as remarkable at the time, just odd. A good view of La Malediccio. I could kind of see why Father Simeon thought it was evil. There was a certain presence about it. The killer caught in the act. There was nothing really distinctive about him. The moment it all went horribly wrong. The image was a little fuzzy, but in the center of the painting was what looked like a snake eating its own tail. I thought about what the priest said. There was definitely something unsettling about the picture. There was some writing on the front of his helmet, but I couldn't quite make it out. The killer making his getaway. A logo on the front of his helmet read Waterloo Motors. That could be useful. The painting was gone. Whoever... Poor old... This frame caught... That shot must... That was the earliest shot with anything interesting on it. Whoever... There I was, taking a look at the... I hadn't thought about that when I was taking a look at... That was the last shot. I'd probably learned everything I could from the CCTV.
Monsieur, sir, you have snuck in here, and now you are tampering with my evidence.
I'm just looking for the name of the caterer. That cheese was to die for.
Ah, to die for? To kill for. I put it to you, Monsieur... Monsieur...
Stobart. George Stobart.
I put it to you that you came here in search of cheese and killed the owner in a fromage-induced frenzy.
Well, no. I'm from Paris Mutual. We insured the exhibition.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Time will tell, monsieur.
Truth will out, Inspector.
Who dares wins, Monsieur Stobart.
He who laughs last laughs loudest, Inspector Nave. The guy was seriously nuts.
May I remind you, monsieur, that a serious crime has been committed. I am going to have to ask you to return to the gallery.
Of course, but I do need to ask you a few questions.
D'accord. But remember, anything you say can be used against you, Monsieur Stobart.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind.